Hey there guys, quick post-fight review. So, Magomed Kurbanov defeats Liam Smith by a unanimous decision. Now, I gotta be honest guys, this fight really surprised me. And it didn't surprise me the result of the fight, because any of you who have talked to me about this fight will know that I picked Kurbanov to win the fight by unanimous decision. So, the result of the fight was exactly what I predicted. But the way that the fight went surprised me. Now, I said all in the build-up, even though I was expecting a decision victory for Kurbanov, I felt that Liam Smith's best chance in the fight of at least making it competitive or having any chance of winning would be to get inside, work the body, rough Kurbanov up, and try and force a late stoppage. Because I didn't see Liam Smith being able to outbox Kurbanov and having any chance of winning on points. But Liam Smith really surprised me in this fight because early on in the fight, he was completely outboxing Magomed Kurbanov. And he was doing so just using basic boxing fundamentals. He was holding the center of the ring, he had his guard up, he was blocking punches, he was not really buying any of the silly shit that Kurbanov was doing. Kurbanov has that hands down, flashy flash type of style, does the shoulder roll or the Mayweather stuff, throws a lot of wasted, superficial, slappy type punches. And Liam Smith, in my opinion, was schooling him. He was landing the jab, he was landing a little quick counter overhand right, countering the left hand and the jab of Kurbanov. And he also, in the first round, Kurbanov hit the canvas, but it was ruled a slip. I don't think it was a legitimate knockdown. He was off balance, and it was a slip. But that kind of set the precedent for the fight because Liam Smith was holding the center of the ring all night, and in my opinion, he was getting the better of a lot of the exchanges just based on having his guard up and blocking punches and just having the better technique. Now, as the fight went on, I think from the sixth round on, Kurbanov made a few adjustments. He started to move more, started to throw more feints, and he was kind of drawing a lead from Smith. I think Smith got a little bit too comfortable and thought he could just load up on shots. And there was times when Liam Smith would just load up on a right hand and Kurbanov would just make it miss and move and sort of posture to the crowd as if he was in control. And at times he would land a right hook around the guard. And there was also moments in the fight when Smith was coming forward, Kurbanov started to straighten up his punches a little bit, and he was starting to catch Smith with the jab, and he was also catching Smith on the way in with the straight right. He actually hurt Smith a couple of times in the fight, and yeah, Smith at the end of one of the rounds was holding on for dear life because he got hit with one of them straight rights. And I thought that Kurbanov to me just showed some adjustments in the fight. He took over the fight midway, and the last few rounds of the fight, I thought Kurbanov swept them. He was just landing the cleaner punches, and Liam Smith was sort of banging his chest, trying to get Kurbanov to open up more. And Kurbanov was just obliging by throwing hard shots and again catching Liam Smith on the way in. Liam Smith. It was kind of a tale of two fights. It was an interesting one, or a tale of two halves. In the first half, I felt that Liam Smith was firmly in control, and I thought he was going to cruise to a decision victory. Although from the midway point on, Kurbanov, like I said, he just completely took over, and I thought he swept most of the later rounds. And yeah, it was a good fight, man. And I've got no real argument with the decision. I think 113, 115, 113 either way was fair. The judge that had it by I think 4 or 5 rounds, I can't remember the exact score, but the third judge scored it quite wide to Kurbanov. I don't agree with that. I thought it was a very close fight, and 115, 113, I think that's a score that I have no argument with. I thought that that was a fair score. But I was really surprised by Liam Smith. He actually boxed really, really well in the fight. It's just that, to me, Liam Smith didn't really show the tenacity that he had earlier in his career. I think that if this fight had happened a couple of years ago, I think Liam Smith would have stopped Kurbanov because Kurbanov was pretty useless in the first half of the fight. He had no defense, no guard, and he was just relying on his movement and his volume. And Liam Smith, in my opinion, was just completely outboxing him. And I think that it really took Kurbanov about 4 or 5 rounds to find his timing and start to outbox Liam Smith. So this was a good fight. It was an entertaining fight. I thoroughly enjoyed it, and I've got no real argument with the decision. I wouldn't have argued if it had maybe been scored a draw, but like I said, I thought that Kurbanov just did enough to get the win. I'm not really too fussed about him getting the decision. It's not a robbery. I'm sure some people will say it was, but it was a very close fight. Like I said, it was a tale of two halves. The first half was a clear domination by Liam Smith, and then the second half was pretty much swept by Kurbanov, in my opinion. So I think it was a fair decision either way, as long as it was only by like a round or two. So yeah, good fight, good win for Kurbanov. I wouldn't mind seeing a rematch, and in fact, in a rematch, I might even favour Liam Smith, because I think that Liam Smith would make a few adjustments off the back of that, because I do think he could have won the fight. It's just that he let it slip away from him in the later rounds. But either way, that was a good fight. Kurbanov won't have anything for the elite guys at 154, but he's a good enough domestic fighter, and I wouldn't mind seeing